What if everything you've believed about defending yourself is holding you back? What if the instinct to explain, justify, or fight back isn't a sign of strength, but the exact thing that keeps you stuck? Imagine for a moment that the energy you spend defending your actions, your beliefs, even your very identity, is like a chain, one that quietly weighs you down, piece by piece, day after day. It's a harsh truth, but the real power doesn't come from defending who you are. It comes from something far deeper, far more freeing. You've been taught to stand your ground, to prove you're right, to shield yourself from criticism and attack. It feels natural, almost necessary. Because when someone challenges you, doesn't your heart race? Doesn't your mind immediately scramble to protect you? This reaction is wired into you. It's the instinct to survive, to protect your self-worth. But survival and growth are not the same thing. Defending yourself is about survival. What if survival isn't enough anymore? What if it's time to rise above survival and claim true freedom? When you stop defending yourself, a door opens, a door to clarity, peace, and unstoppable power. The moment you decide not to waste energy proving your point, not to scramble to fix every misunderstanding, you begin to break free. Freedom doesn't come from convincing others you're right. Freedom comes from knowing your truth so deeply that you don't need anyone else's approval. It comes from the courage to stand without armor, without the constant noise of defense. This kind of freedom feels like breathing again after holding your breath underwater for too long. It feels like peace rushing in, soft but unstoppable. Most people never experience this. They spend their lives locked in battles of words, of egos, of who's right. These battles drain the soul. They leave you exhausted, anxious, and often more confused than before. Defending yourself is exhausting because it's a fight against the current of life itself. Life will always have opinions, judgments, challenges, and unfairness. Fighting against this flow with constant defense is like trying to swim upstream in a raging river. You can do it, but at what cost? The question isn't whether you should defend yourself, it's what happens when you don't. There's a power so profound in silence, in acceptance, and in choosing not to defend that it can change everything. It doesn't mean you give up or let others walk all over you. It means you rise above the petty need to prove yourself, the endless loop of I am right, you are wrong. This shift opens a new way of living, one where you move with purpose, with clarity, with an energy that can't be stopped because it's not wasted on defense. It's focused on creation, on growth, on building the life you want. What you will discover is that defending yourself often feeds the very fears and insecurities you're trying to hide. Every time you react with defense, you give those fears power. You confirm to yourself that your worth depends on others' opinions, that you're fragile, that you need to protect a shaky sense of self. But true strength comes from breaking this cycle. True strength comes when you stop fighting to prove you belong, when you stop needing permission to be who you are. That is the power you can tap into right now. Imagine how different your life would be if you didn't spend energy defending yourself. Imagine how much lighter, clearer, and stronger you would feel. Imagine no longer needing to justify your choices, no longer having to explain your actions to every doubter. Imagine stepping into a space where your confidence is unshakable, not because you've argued your case, but because you've embraced yourself fully, without defense, without fear. This is the journey you're about to begin. The reward is not just peace or confidence, it's the kind of freedom that makes you unstoppable. It's the freedom to live boldly, to act from a place of deep knowing, and to face the world without armor because you know who you are. The freedom to rise above every challenge, every criticism, every doubt. To live a life so powerful that no defense is ever needed. So take a deep breath and let this truth sink in. Defending yourself is the trap, not the solution. The real solution is something far simpler and far more powerful. It's waiting for you on the other side of this old habit, ready to transform your life completely. Why do we defend ourselves so fiercely? It's because somewhere deep inside there is a raw, aching need to be seen, understood, and accepted. Every defensive word, every excuse, every justification is really a plea, an invisible cry to protect our fragile sense of belonging. The fear of rejection or being misunderstood taps into something primal, something almost unbearable. No one wants to feel invisible, invalidated, or wrong. It stings the soul like nothing else. But here lies the hidden truth. Defending yourself doesn't secure that acceptance. It pushes it further away. When you spend your time defending your actions, your thoughts, your feelings, you unknowingly place your power in the hands of others. Their opinions become the gatekeepers of your worth. You start living a life dictated by their approval or disapproval. This constant need to explain yourself, to justify your choices, is exhausting. It drains your energy and clouds your mind. Instead of focusing on your growth and your dreams, you are trapped in a relentless loop of reaction. You become a prisoner of other people's judgments. The most painful part, you don't even realize it's happening. The defense becomes automatic, a reflex born from years of conditioning and fear. It feels natural, even necessary, but it's the very thing that blocks you from stepping into your full power. When you defend yourself, you're admitting, even if silently, that you need permission to exist, to be heard, to be validated. You're handing your freedom over to others, and that is the greatest loss of all. But there is a way out. There is a choice you can make right now, to stop feeding the fear that keeps you chained to defense, to break the habit of reacting, explaining, proving. This choice is the first step toward reclaiming your energy, your peace, your true self. It is the moment when you say, I will no longer be a hostage to others' opinions. I will no longer defend my worth. This decision shifts everything. Because when you stop defending yourself, you stop giving power to your fears. You stop validating the doubts that lurk in your mind. You step out of the victim's role and into the role of creator. And nothing is more empowering than that. Without defense, you begin to see clearly. You see yourself without distortion. You see your worth without the filter of others' judgments. And this clarity fuels a deep, unshakable confidence. Think about this. Every second spent defending yourself is a second stolen from your growth. Every argument, every excuse, every attempt to prove yourself is a brick in the wall that separates you from your potential. This wall keeps you small, limited, stuck. But the moment you stop building it, the wall starts to crumble. Space opens up for new possibilities, new perspectives, new strength. You don't have to fight every battle. You don't have to respond to every criticism. Choosing silence or calm over defense is not weakness, it's mastery. It's the mastery of your own mind, your own emotions. It's the ability to rise above the noise and stand grounded in your truth without shouting it from the rooftops. This is the strength that inspires respect, the kind of strength that is magnetic and unwavering. In that silence, you create a powerful presence, one that commands attention not through noise, but through calm confidence. People notice the difference. They feel it in your energy. They see that you don't need to defend yourself because you already know your value. This presence changes the game. It changes how people treat you. And more importantly, it changes how you treat yourself. Defending yourself constantly is exhausting because it is a battle you cannot win. You can't control how others see you or what they say, but you can control how you respond. You can choose peace over conflict. You can choose to rise above the need for defense. This choice frees you from the drama and drains of constant conflict. It opens a door to a life where your energy is spent on creation, on progress, on joy. Imagine carrying yourself with this new strength. Imagine facing criticism and challenges without flinching, not because you are numb, but because you are centered, not because you are indifferent, but because you are secure. This is the power of letting go of defense. It is the power of owning your story so fully that no external force can shake your foundation. This shift transforms how you see the world. You stop seeing attacks or criticism as threats. Instead, you see them as opportunities to learn, to grow, to expand. Without the need to defend, your mind becomes open and curious instead of closed and reactive. This openness is where true growth lives. This openness is where the seeds of transformation are planted. The courage it takes to stop defending yourself is real. It goes against everything you've been conditioned to do. But courage is not the absence of fear. It is acting despite fear. It is stepping into the unknown with faith in yourself. And when you do, you will discover a strength you never knew existed inside you. A strength that does not need to prove itself. A strength that simply is. So feel this truth deeply. Defending yourself is not your shield. It's your cage. Breaking free from that cage is not only possible, it is necessary if you want to live fully. The power to stop defending, to stop reacting, and to start owning your life is already inside you. It's waiting for you to claim it. When you do, you will not only change your life, you will change the way the world sees you. This is your invitation to stop defending and start living, to stop shrinking and start shining, to stop reacting and start creating. When you choose this path, you step into a power that is quiet, steady, and unstoppable. It's the power of true freedom. And that freedom is yours, waiting right now. When you truly stop defending yourself, you begin to understand a fundamental truth. The world is not against you. It's not a battleground where every word must be fought over, every slight must be repaid. The constant defense you once thought was necessary is, in reality, a mirror reflecting your own inner conflict. The battles you fight outwardly often stem from turmoil within. And the moment you stop defending, you create a space inside. A space free from chaos, free from doubt, free from the need to prove anything. This space is where real power lives. Not the power that dominates or controls, but the power that radiates effortlessly. It's the power of knowing yourself so well that no criticism can shake you, no attack can break you, no misunderstanding can diminish you. This power isn't loud, it doesn't argue or insist. It simply stands firm like an ancient tree, rooted deep in self-awareness and calm confidence. Imagine how different your life could be if you held this power. Imagine conversations without the need to defend, without the impulse to justify. Imagine facing challenges with the quiet certainty that you are enough, that you have everything you need inside you already. The freedom that comes from this certainty is unlike anything else. It lightens your steps, clears your mind, and ignites your spirit. You see, when you defend yourself, you focus on what's outside, on what others think, say, or believe about you. You give away your energy to external forces you cannot control. But when you stop defending, your focus shifts inward. You reclaim your energy, your time, your peace. This shift is not just psychological, it's transformational. It rewires your brain, rewrites your story, and redefines your reality. The fear that fuels defense is powerful, but it is not stronger than your courage. Courage is not just for the battlefield or the stage, it lives in every moment you choose peace over conflict, calm over chaos. Each time you resist the urge to defend, you build resilience. You prove to yourself that you don't need to fight to be worthy. This resilience becomes your armor, but unlike defense, it doesn't weigh you down, it lifts you up. When you embrace this resilience, you begin to see people and situations differently. You stop seeing threats where there are none. You stop reacting to imagined attacks. Your relationships improve, your mindset clears, and your heart softens. You become someone others want to be around. Not because you're perfect, but because you're real, grounded, and strong in your own truth. This is the essence of true freedom, the freedom to be who you are without apology, without explanation, without defense. It is a liberation from the need to be understood or approved. It is the release from the exhausting cycle of proving yourself to others. When you reach this place, you stand tall not because you shouted the loudest, but because you chose peace and ownership over conflict and defense. The paradox is clear. The less you defend yourself, the stronger you become. The more you let go of the need to justify, the more unshakable your confidence grows. This confidence is magnetic. It draws people in, not because you demand their attention, but because you emit a quiet certainty that can't be ignored. This certainty changes how the world interacts with you. It shifts the energy around you from confrontation to respect, from tension to ease. You hold immense power. Every time you decide not to engage in unnecessary battles, you reclaim control over your emotions, your reactions, your energy. You become the master of your inner world rather than a prisoner to external chaos. This mastery opens doors to creativity, productivity, and joy. Doors to relationships that nourish instead of drain. Doors to a life lived on your terms with clarity and purpose. Remember, defending yourself often feels like protection, but it is really a form of resistance. Resistance to growth, to change, to vulnerability. When you resist less, you allow more. More peace, more understanding, more growth, more of the life you want. Vulnerability may feel risky, but it is also the gateway to authenticity and connection. And connection is the fuel for the human spirit. When you stop defending, you open yourself to genuine connection, not just with others, but with yourself. You begin to see your imperfections not as flaws to be hidden, but as unique marks of your humanity. You accept your story, your struggles, your triumphs. This acceptance is a powerful gift. It dissolves the fear of judgment because you no longer live in its shadow. You live in your light. This transformation is not easy. It takes conscious effort to break the habit of defense. It requires you to face discomfort head on, to sit with uncertainty, to trust yourself without guarantees. But every step you take away from defense is a step toward freedom. Every moment you choose ownership over reaction is a moment you reclaim your life. So when the urge to defend rises, pause, feel it, acknowledge it, then choose differently. Choose peace instead of conflict. Choose strength instead of reaction. Choose freedom instead of defense. This choice is a radical act of self-love. It says, I am more than my fears. I am bigger than my need for approval. I am free. In this freedom, you find a new way to live. Bold, clear, and unstoppable. A way where your worth is not negotiable and your power is undeniable. The choice to stop defending yourself is not just a change in behavior, it is a profound shift in identity. It is the key to unlocking a life filled with purpose, joy, and unshakable peace. This moment right now is your invitation to step into that power, to stop defending and start living, to break free from the chains that have held you back, to claim the freedom that has always been yours. The power is in your hands. Choose wisely, choose boldly, choose freedom. Defending yourself is often mistaken for strength, but real strength is quiet, steady, and unwavering. It doesn't shout, it doesn't demand attention, and it never feels the need to justify itself. The moment you understand this, you tap into a source of power that no one can take away from you. This power isn't dependent on others' approval or on winning arguments. It lives deep within, anchored in self-awareness and self-respect. When you stop defending yourself, you step out of the exhausting cycle of proving and reacting. You stop giving away your energy to battles that don't serve your growth. This shift creates space for something far more valuable. Focus. Focus on what truly matters. Focus on your purpose, your dreams, your vision. Without the noise of defense cluttering your mind, your thoughts become clearer, your decisions sharper, and your actions more deliberate. Defending yourself is a reaction rooted in fear. The fear of being misunderstood, judged, or rejected. But fear loses its grip when you refuse to feed it. Every time you resist the urge to defend, you starve that fear of attention and it begins to shrink. You gain control over your emotions instead of letting them control you. This control is freedom. It's the freedom to respond with calmness instead of anger, with confidence instead of doubt, with clarity instead of confusion. This freedom is transformative. It changes not just how you interact with the world, but how you see yourself. You begin to realize that your worth is not tied to external validation. It is not dependent on others' opinions or acceptance. Your value is inherent. It's there whether anyone else recognizes it or not. And once you claim this truth, defending yourself becomes unnecessary because you no longer need permission to be who you are. This realization is revolutionary. It lifts a heavy burden from your shoulders, the burden of constant defense, the endless explaining, the arguments, the justifications, all of it fades away. You no longer waste precious energy on battles that drain you. Instead, you channel that energy into building, creating, and growing. You become unstoppable because your strength is no longer fragile or conditional. It is steady, rooted, and infinite. Choosing not to defend yourself also rewires how others see you. People are drawn to those who carry themselves with quiet confidence, those who do not react impulsively but respond thoughtfully. When you stop defending, you project a presence that commands respect, not through force, but through authenticity. Others sense your inner calm and are naturally drawn to it. Your energy shifts the atmosphere around you from tension to ease. This shift in presence is more powerful than any argument or defense. It changes the dynamics of relationships and conversations. Instead of getting caught in conflict, you guide interactions with grace and clarity. This doesn't mean you avoid standing up for yourself. It means you stand firmly without needing to prove anything. You become a force of nature, not because you fight harder, but because you stand stronger. Defending yourself often feels necessary because it's a habit ingrained over years of fear and insecurity. Breaking this habit requires conscious effort and courage. It means facing discomfort and uncertainty without retreating into defense. It means trusting yourself enough to hold your ground quietly, without shouting or justifying. And every time you do this, you reinforce a new pattern, one of strength, calm, and freedom. This new pattern creates momentum that carries you forward in life with less resistance and more flow. Instead of reacting to every challenge, you respond with intention. Instead of getting pulled into drama, you rise above it. This momentum empowers you to pursue your goals with clarity and resilience. It fuels your growth because you are no longer weighed down by the need to defend your every move. The beauty of this transformation is that it starts within you. It doesn't depend on changing others or controlling outcomes. It begins with a decision, a commitment to stop defending and start owning your life. This decision sets off a ripple effect. Your inner peace grows, your confidence deepens, and your impact on the world expands. You become a beacon of strength and calm in a chaotic world. Imagine living without the need to defend yourself, without the constant battle to prove your worth or explain your choices. Imagine moving through life with quiet assurance, knowing that your value is unshakable. This is not a distant dream. It is a reality within your reach, waiting for you to claim it. All it takes is the courage to stop defending and the willingness to stand firm in your truth. When you make this choice, you unlock a power that changes everything. You step into a life where you are not defined by others' opinions, but by your own integrity and strength. You create space for growth, joy, and fulfillment. You become a force that cannot be shaken, not because you are invincible, but because you are whole. This wholeness is the greatest strength of all. It is the freedom to be fully yourself, unapologetically and without defense. It is the key to living a life of purpose and peace. So embrace this power. Let go of the need to defend. Stand tall in your truth. And watch as your life transforms in ways you never imagined possible. There is an undeniable freedom that comes with refusing to defend yourself. Not the kind of freedom that comes from chaos or rebellion, but the freedom that grows from inner mastery. It's the freedom to live your truth without fear of judgment, to walk through the world unburdened by the need to justify who you are or what you believe. This freedom is the cornerstone of true self-respect. It tells the world, and more importantly, yourself, that your value is inherent, unshakable, and beyond debate. When you stop defending, you stop arguing against your own power. Every defense is a subtle admission that you feel small, vulnerable, or uncertain. It's a way of saying, even if silently, I am not enough on my own. But the truth is, you already are enough. You do not need to prove it. The act of defending is a reaction rooted in fear, fear that others will not accept you unless you explain, unless you fight back, unless you justify your existence. But what if that fear is a lie? What if the very act of defense keeps you trapped in a cycle of doubt and limitation? Choosing to stop defending yourself rewires your mind. It rewires how you relate to yourself and how you interact with the world. The first moments of this choice might feel uncomfortable. Your instincts will push you to explain, to clarify, to push back. But every time you resist, you strengthen a new pathway, one where confidence replaces doubt, where peace replaces conflict. This new way of being is not passive, it is a radical form of strength. It's strength that comes from deep within, anchored in self-trust and unwavering self-worth. This strength changes everything. It changes how you carry yourself, how you speak, how you respond. Without the need to defend, your voice gains a new power. It becomes calm yet compelling, clear yet compassionate. You no longer need to shout to be heard because your presence alone commands attention. People sense this shift. They feel the difference between someone who is constantly on guard and someone who is peacefully grounded in their own truth. When you stop defending yourself, you also free your mind. You stop spinning in circles of justification and explanation. This mental clarity allows you to focus on what truly matters, your growth, your goals, your passions. You no longer waste time and energy on battles that drain you. Instead, you invest everything into building the life you want. This focus creates momentum, momentum that propels you forward with greater ease and less resistance. Without defense, you open the door to vulnerability, not as a weakness, but as a courageous act of authenticity. Vulnerability becomes your strength because it breaks down walls and builds bridges. It allows genuine connection with others, and more importantly, with yourself. You begin to accept your imperfections not as flaws to hide, but as the raw material of your unique power. This acceptance dissolves the fear of judgment, because when you truly accept yourself, the opinions of others lose their grip. This transformation also changes how others relate to you. People are drawn to those who are authentic and secure, not those who constantly defend and argue. When you embody confidence without defense, you radiate a magnetic energy that invites respect and admiration. This energy shifts the dynamics in your relationships. Conversations become less about proving points and more about understanding and collaboration. You become a leader not because you push or demand, but because you inspire by simply being yourself. Defending yourself is exhausting because it is a battle that can never be truly won. Opinions will always vary, misunderstandings will arise, and criticisms will come. But none of these external forces can diminish the power you hold when you refuse to defend your worth. This refusal is a profound declaration of freedom. It says, I am whole, I am enough, and I will not be diminished by others' views. This declaration is not just empowering, it's transformative. It rewires your emotional responses and reshapes your reality. Instead of reacting with fear or anger, you respond with calm and clarity. Instead of shrinking or hiding, you stand tall and move forward. This shift liberates you from the chains of external validation and opens a path to self-mastery. The courage to stop defending yourself is a revolutionary act. It challenges every limiting belief you have about who you must be to belong, to succeed, to be loved. It requires you to trust that you are already worthy, exactly as you are. And that trust builds a foundation stronger than any defense could provide. It is a foundation built on peace, resilience, and unshakable self-love. In this space, your energy is no longer fragmented or depleted. It flows freely toward creation, growth, and joy. You become unstoppable, not because you fight harder, but because you fight smarter. You no longer waste energy defending your existence. You invest it in expanding your life. So embrace the power of letting go. Let go of the need to defend your past, your choices, your identity. Let go of the fear that drives you to react and explain. When you do, you will find yourself standing in a place of quiet strength and immense freedom, a place where you are fully, authentically, and powerfully you. And in that place, you will live a life that no one can take from you, because it is yours by choice, by courage, and by unbreakable truth. When you let go of defending yourself, you begin to understand that silence can be one of your most powerful responses. Silence isn't weakness. Silence is strength wrapped in calm. It's the quiet assurance that you don't need to argue, explain, or convince anyone of your worth. In a world that screams for attention and validation, choosing silence is a rebellion, a declaration that your value doesn't depend on the noise around you. This silence creates space, a sacred space within you where judgment, criticism, and misunderstanding cannot penetrate. It is a space free from the chaos of reaction and filled instead with clarity and peace. In this space, you reconnect with your true self, stripped of the labels others try to place on you. You realize that defending yourself is often a distraction from this truth. It pulls you away from your core and into the drama of other people's opinions. By embracing silence, you reclaim your energy. Energy that was once scattered in defense becomes focused on your growth and purpose. This focus allows you to channel your efforts into what truly matters, your dreams, your passions, your legacy. Instead of being reactive, you become proactive. You create rather than respond. You lead rather than follow. The power of not defending yourself is rooted in trust. Trust in yourself and trust in the natural order of life. When you trust yourself, you no longer feel the need to justify your actions or prove your worth. You know who you are, and that knowing is unshakable. Trust allows you to stand firm in your truth even when the world tries to shake you. It frees you from the exhausting cycle of proving and defending because your confidence isn't built on others' approval. It is built on self-belief. Trust also opens the door to acceptance. Acceptance of yourself with all your strengths and imperfections. Acceptance that you cannot control how others perceive you, but you can control how you respond. This acceptance releases the burden of defense because you no longer fear rejection or judgment. You understand that what others think is a reflection of their own struggles and biases, not a measure of your worth. When you stop defending yourself, you shift your energy from resistance to flow. Resistance drains your spirit, flow fuels it. Flow aligns you with your purpose and your power. It allows you to move through life with grace and resilience, navigating challenges without losing your center. This flow is magnetic. It attracts opportunities, relationships, and experiences that nourish your soul and elevate your life. Choosing flow over defense requires courage because it means standing in your truth without armor. It means being vulnerable yet unbreakable. But this courage is contagious. When you embody it, you inspire others to do the same. You become a beacon of light in a world that often celebrates conflict and division. Your example shows that strength doesn't come from fighting. It comes from standing still and knowing who you are. This strength reshapes your reality. It changes how people treat you, how situations unfold, and how you see the world. You no longer react out of fear or ego. You respond with wisdom and calm. You don't need to win every argument because you know that true victory lies in peace. Peace with yourself and peace with life. Defending yourself may feel like protection, but often it is the very thing that blocks your growth. It keeps you stuck in old patterns of fear and insecurity. Letting go of defense is a radical act of liberation. It frees you to explore new possibilities, to take risks, and to live boldly. It invites growth because it requires vulnerability, a willingness to face the unknown without fear. In this freedom, you find a new kind of power, the power of authenticity. Authenticity is magnetic because it is real. It is the courage to show up as you are without masks or pretenses. It draws people and opportunities that align with your true self. Authenticity opens doors that defense keeps locked tight. When you live authentically, you become unstoppable. Obstacles no longer intimidate you because your confidence isn't tied to external validation. Challenges become opportunities to prove to yourself just how strong and capable you are. Your resilience grows because it is built on a foundation of self-trust and acceptance, not on the fragile ground of others' opinions. This transformation is profound. It rewires your mind, reshapes your emotions, and redefines your life. It turns what once felt like weaknesses, vulnerability, silence, acceptance, into your greatest strengths. And as you embrace this new way of being, you inspire others to do the same. So embrace the power of silence. Embrace the strength and trust and acceptance. Embrace the flow that comes when you stop defending and start living authentically. This is where your true power lies. Not in the battles you fight, but in the peace you create. Not in the noise you make, but in the calm you carry. This is the path to a life of freedom, fulfillment, and unshakable strength. There is a profound strength in surrender, not in giving up, but in releasing the need to constantly defend your position, your choices, your identity. Surrender is not weakness. It is the ultimate act of courage. It means trusting the flow of life, trusting that you are exactly where you need to be, and that your worth does not require constant validation or protection. This surrender frees you from the exhausting burden of defense and opens the door to true empowerment. When you surrender the habit of defending yourself, you stop fighting against forces you cannot control, opinions, judgments, misunderstandings. Instead, you focus on what is within your power, your response, your attitude, your growth. This shift is revolutionary because it flips the script from resistance to acceptance, from conflict to peace. And in that peace lies an immense power that can change the course of your life. Defending yourself is often an act of resistance, a resistance to being seen as less than, to being misunderstood, or to being vulnerable. But resistance drains your energy and keeps you trapped in a cycle of tension and anxiety. Surrender, on the other hand, allows energy to flow freely. It lets you move with grace instead of against the current. It lets you conserve your strength for what truly matters, building, creating, and evolving. This surrender requires self-awareness, the ability to recognize when you are reacting out of fear or insecurity rather than truth and confidence. It requires mindfulness, the practice of observing your thoughts and emotions without judgment or attachment. When you cultivate these qualities, you become the master of your inner world rather than a slave to external circumstances. You no longer defend yourself because you no longer feel threatened. Choosing surrender is choosing freedom. Freedom from the need to prove yourself, to justify your actions, to win approval. This freedom is liberating because it reconnects you with your authentic self, unfiltered and unafraid. When you stop defending, you stop hiding. You stand in your truth, whole and unshaken, regardless of how others perceive you. This authentic presence commands respect effortlessly. People sense when you are genuine, when your power is not borrowed from defense but rooted in acceptance. Your energy becomes magnetic, drawing people and opportunities aligned with your highest good. You become a leader in your own life, not by force or manipulation, but by the quiet authority of self-trust. The impact of surrender ripples beyond your personal life. It transforms your relationships, your career, your mindset. Without the armor of defense, connections deepen because you communicate from a place of openness and vulnerability. Challenges at work or in your projects no longer trigger reactive defense, but invite creative problem-solving and resilience. Your mindset shifts from scarcity and fear to abundance and confidence. Surrender does not mean passivity. It does not mean allowing others to walk over you or neglecting your boundaries. True surrender is an active choice to engage with life on your terms, calmly, clearly, and confidently. It is a powerful stance that says, I am here, I am enough, and I will not waste energy fighting shadows. This power grows each time you choose it. Every moment you resist the urge to defend yourself is a moment you reclaim your energy and your peace. Every time you respond with calm instead of reaction, you reinforce a new way of being, one that is centered, resilient, and free. Imagine living from this place of surrender, where your confidence is unshakable, your focus unbreakable, and your spirit unstoppable. In this state, life storms do not toss you around but refine you. You become like a mighty tree, rooted deep, bending with the wind, but never broken. This is the power that comes from not defending yourself. It is not the power of loud arguments or forceful battles. It is the power of inner peace, self-mastery, and authentic presence. It is the power to move through life with grace, strength, and unwavering confidence. Embracing this power requires courage because it asks you to step into the unknown, to trust yourself without constant reassurance. But within that unknown lies your true potential, waiting to be unleashed. So surrender the need to defend. Surrender the need to control others' perceptions. Stand tall in your truth, free and fearless, and watch how your life transforms into a masterpiece of strength, peace, and limitless possibility. True power does not shout. It does not seek validation or approval. True power lives quietly in the depths of your being, steady and unwavering, even when the world tries to shake you. When you stop defending yourself, you tap into this power, a power that is unbreakable because it is born from self-acceptance and inner peace. This is the power that cannot be taken away because it is not given by others, it is claimed from within. Every time you engage in defense, you reinforce the idea that your worth is conditional, that it depends on convincing others or protecting your image. But worth that hinges on external validation is fragile, like a house built on sand. It wobbles, cracks, and collapses under pressure. Real worth is like a mountain, solid, grounded, and eternal. It does not crumble because it stands on the rock of self-love and self-respect. When you refuse to defend yourself, you declare to the world and to yourself that you are enough just as you are. This declaration transforms your energy. Instead of being scattered and reactive, your energy becomes focused and magnetic. You begin to attract what aligns with your true self rather than what you think you need to prove. You create space for authentic connections and opportunities that nourish your soul. Defending yourself often keeps you locked in a battle with your ego, the part of you that fears rejection and craves approval. But when you stop feeding the ego's need for defense, you liberate yourself from its grip. You step into a higher consciousness where your sense of self is not tied to others' opinions, but anchored in your own truth. This shift opens the door to greater clarity and wisdom. Clarity comes because you no longer waste mental energy on fighting illusions or false perceptions. Wisdom grows because you begin to see people and situations more clearly, without the distortions of fear or pride. Your responses become measured and intentional, not impulsive reactions. This clarity allows you to navigate life's challenges with grace and resilience. When you stop defending, you also break free from the exhausting cycle of blame and justification. You no longer need to explain yourself or prove your intentions. Instead, you own your choices and stand by them with confidence. This ownership is empowering because it shifts your focus from what others think to what you know to be true. Ownership of your truth means you accept responsibility for your life without apology. You stop being a victim of circumstances or other people's judgments. You become the author of your own story, writing each chapter with intention and courage. This shift from defense to ownership fuels your growth and propels you toward your highest potential. This transformation is not about being indifferent or detached. It is about being deeply connected to yourself and others without losing your center. When you are no longer defensive, you listen more deeply, communicate more honestly, and relate more authentically. Your relationships improve because they are based on mutual respect and understanding, rather than fear and control. The peace that comes from not defending yourself is revolutionary. It changes your internal landscape and the world around you. It dissolves the tension and resistance that drain your energy and replaces it with calm and flow. In this state, you become a magnet for positivity, abundance, and joy because your vibration matches your inner truth. Living without defense requires courage because it means facing the unknown without armor. It means trusting that you are worthy, even when you are misunderstood or criticized. But this courage grows each time you practice it. Each moment you choose peace over conflict, calm over reaction, you build resilience and deepen your self-trust. This resilience becomes your foundation, a foundation so strong that no external force can shake you. It allows you to face life's challenges not with fear or anger, but with a steady heart and a clear mind. You become like a lighthouse in a storm, unwavering and bright, guiding yourself and others through the darkest times. The most profound freedom comes when you realize that defending yourself is a choice, and so is letting it go. You choose to step out of the endless cycle of reaction and into a life of peace and power. You choose to be defined not by others' opinions, but by your own unshakable truth. This choice changes everything. It frees you from the chains of judgment and criticism. It empowers you to live boldly and authentically. It opens the door to a life filled with purpose, fulfillment, and unbreakable strength. So claim this power now. Let go of the need to defend. Stand tall in your truth with quiet confidence. Embrace the peace that comes from knowing your worth is not negotiable. And watch as your life transforms into a testament of freedom, courage, and limitless potential. When you step into the space beyond defense, something remarkable happens. You reclaim your energy. Energy is the currency of life. Every moment spent defending yourself is energy drained, a silent tax on your spirit that leaves you exhausted and less capable of creating the life you desire. But when you release the need to defend, you break free from this drain and redirect your energy toward what truly matters. This redirection is not just practical, it is transformative. It changes the very fabric of your existence. Energy spent on defense feeds conflict, fear, and doubt. It anchors you to past wounds and perceived threats, keeping you tethered to reactions that no longer serve you. But when you choose to conserve your energy, you step into power. Power to create, to grow, to heal. Power to build the future instead of defending the past. This power is magnetic. It draws success, peace, and fulfillment to you effortlessly because it flows from a source within that is limitless. Reclaiming your energy requires awareness, the ability to notice when you are being pulled into defense and the discipline to choose a different path. This choice is not always easy because defending yourself can feel instinctual. It feels like protection. But true protection comes not from fighting battles, but from mastering yourself. When you master your reactions, you master your energy. You decide where it goes, and you choose to invest it in what lifts you higher. This investment transforms your mindset. Instead of being stuck in scarcity, the scarcity of approval, validation, and acceptance, you move into abundance. Abundance of confidence, peace, and self-love. This abundant mindset shifts your reality because your thoughts and feelings shape your experiences. When you believe in your worth without needing to prove it, you create a life that reflects that belief. Imagine how different your days would be if you no longer felt compelled to defend your choices, your beliefs, or your identity. Imagine the clarity and calm that would fill your mind. Imagine the space you would have to focus on your goals, your passions, your growth. This space is your true power zone, a place where creativity flows, decisions become clear, and obstacles become opportunities. When your energy is focused and abundant, your actions align with your highest self. You act from purpose, not reaction. You speak from truth, not defense. This alignment is felt by others, even when you say nothing. Your presence alone becomes a statement of strength and confidence. People respect you not because you defend your position, but because you embody it. Letting go of defense also opens the door to deeper self-compassion. When you stop fighting against criticism or misunderstanding, you begin to treat yourself with kindness instead of judgment. You recognize that you are human, imperfect, and evolving. This compassion softens your inner dialogue and heals old wounds that may have fueled your defensive tendencies. Self-compassion is a powerful antidote to fear and insecurity. It creates a foundation of inner safety where you no longer feel threatened by others' opinions. Instead, you stand firm in the knowledge that you are worthy of love and respect simply because you exist. This knowledge is liberating. It frees you from the need to constantly prove yourself and allows you to rest in your own truth. Resting in your truth is not passive. It is an active, powerful stance that transforms how you show up in the world. It is a quiet confidence that moves mountains without shouting. It is a steady flame that burns bright, guiding you through uncertainty and challenge. This flame is your authentic self, unapologetic, unshakable, and unstoppable. As you nurture this flame, your relationships transform. Without defense, interactions become more authentic and meaningful. You listen deeply without preparing a counterattack. You respond thoughtfully without fear of judgment. This openness invites trust and connection, enriching your bonds with others. The transformation you experience when you stop defending yourself is profound and far-reaching. It touches every aspect of your life, your mindset, your emotions, your relationships, your success. It frees you to live fully and fearlessly, anchored in the knowledge that you are enough, just as you are. Choosing not to defend yourself is a daily practice, a commitment to your own peace and power. It requires courage to face the discomfort of silence and vulnerability, but it rewards you with a life of authenticity and freedom. Each moment you choose this path, you reclaim your energy, your confidence, and your joy. So claim this power now. Stop defending and start living. Let your energy flow towards your highest potential. Stand tall in your truth with calm confidence, and watch as your life transforms into a radiant expression of freedom, strength, and limitless possibility. When you release the need to defend yourself, you step into a realm where your true influence begins to emerge. Influence that isn't forced or manufactured, but natural and effortless. This influence comes from the alignment between who you are inside and how you show up in the world. It is magnetic because it is authentic. It doesn't demand attention, it earns respect. This kind of influence can move mountains, not by pushing, but by simply being. The secret lies in how your presence communicates without words. When you are not consumed by defense, your energy becomes calm yet powerful. People feel it. They sense your steadiness, your confidence, your peace. This quiet power inspires others to lower their defenses, to listen, and to connect on a deeper level. You become a catalyst for change simply by embodying your truth without apology. Defending yourself often creates walls that separate you from others, walls that block understanding and connection. But when you let those walls down, you invite genuine interaction. You open the door to empathy and collaboration. You show the world that you are secure enough to be vulnerable, strong enough to be authentic. This vulnerability is not a weakness, it is a bridge that brings people closer, fostering trust and respect. This trust becomes the foundation for meaningful relationships. Relationships where you are seen, heard, and valued for who you truly are. Without the need to defend, communication flows freely and honestly. Misunderstandings dissolve because you are no longer reactive, you are present. You listen with an open heart and respond with intention, creating harmony instead of conflict. The influence you cultivate through this authenticity extends beyond personal relationships. It touches your professional life, your community, and the larger world. People are drawn to leaders who lead not with ego, but with integrity and self-awareness. They follow those who demonstrate courage by standing firm in their values without defensiveness. This kind of leadership inspires loyalty and ignites passion in others. When you stop defending yourself, you also reclaim your creativity. Defense consumes mental space, leaving little room for innovation and growth. But with a calm, focused mind, creativity flourishes. You begin to see solutions where others see problems. You take risks without fear of judgment because your sense of worth is not tied to approval. This freedom to create is a powerful force that propels you toward your highest potential. Creativity born from confidence and peace is transformative. It allows you to break free from limiting beliefs and societal expectations. It empowers you to carve your own path, one that aligns with your deepest desires and values. This path may not always be easy, but it is authentic, and authenticity is the key to lasting fulfillment. The power of influence and creativity that arises from not defending yourself is rooted in deep self-trust. Self-trust is the foundation upon which everything else is built. When you trust yourself, you no longer seek external validation or approval. You make decisions confidently, knowing they come from your true self. This trust shields you from doubt and fear, allowing you to move forward with clarity and purpose. This clarity of purpose fuels your passion and resilience. Challenges become stepping stones rather than obstacles. Criticism becomes feedback rather than attack. You learn to distinguish between what serves your growth and what distracts you. This discernment sharpens your focus and strengthens your resolve. The journey of releasing defense and embracing authentic influence is a journey of self-mastery. It requires patience, courage, and commitment. But the rewards are immeasurable: a life of freedom, connection, and impact. A life where you no longer waste energy on battles that drain you, but invest it in building a legacy that reflects your true essence. Your influence grows not because you fight harder, but because you stand taller. Taller in your truth, taller in your peace. You inspire not through words alone, but through the way you carry yourself in every moment. This is the essence of true leadership, the power to transform yourself, and in doing so, to transform the world around you. So embrace this power. Step out of defense and into authentic influence. Let your presence be a beacon of strength and peace. Trust in your ability to create, to connect, and to lead with integrity. And watch as your life becomes a testament to the unstoppable force that arises when you stop defending and start living in your true power. The freedom you find when you stop defending yourself is the gateway to a profound inner transformation, a transformation that reshapes not only how you relate to others, but how you relate to yourself. This relationship, often overlooked, is the most important one you will ever have. When you defend yourself, you are often battling an inner critic, a voice that questions your worth, your choices, your very existence. But surrendering the need to defend quiets that critic and opens the door to radical self-acceptance. Radical self-acceptance is the foundation of true confidence. It means embracing every part of yourself, your strengths, your flaws, your past mistakes, and your potential. It means looking in the mirror and seeing not just who you are today, but who you are becoming. This acceptance is liberating because it removes the pressure to be perfect or to fit someone else's expectations. Instead, it allows you to show up fully as yourself, unapologetically. When you no longer defend yourself, you stop fighting against your imperfections. You stop hiding behind facades or masks designed to protect you from judgment. This honesty with yourself creates an unshakable sense of peace. You begin to understand that your worth is inherent, not earned through external success or approval. This understanding becomes your shield, a shield that no criticism or rejection can penetrate. This peace ripples through every part of your life. It changes the way you speak to yourself, replacing harsh judgments with kindness and encouragement. It changes the way you handle failure, viewing it not as a reflection of your value, but as an opportunity to learn and grow. It changes the way you set boundaries, not out of fear or defensiveness, but out of respect for your own well-being. With this newfound self-acceptance, you reclaim your power. Power not to control others, but to control your own narrative. You become the author of your story, writing it with intention and compassion. This power is different from the defensive power you once relied on. It is a power rooted in love, not fear, in presence, not reaction, in confidence, not doubt. This power transforms your interactions. When you are at peace with yourself, you no longer react impulsively to criticism or conflict. You respond with clarity and calm, choosing your words and actions deliberately.
This response disarms tension and invites understanding.
It creates space for connection instead of division. Moreover, radical self-acceptance fuels resilience. Life will always present challenges, setbacks, and moments of doubt. But when you are anchored in self-acceptance, these moments do not define you. They become part of your growth, stepping stones on your path rather than roadblocks. Resilience born from self-acceptance is steadfast and unwavering because it is nourished by a deep sense of inner worth. This resilience empowers you to face adversity with courage and grace. It allows you to rise after every fall stronger and wiser. It gives you the strength to pursue your dreams despite obstacles, knowing that your value is not contingent on success or failure. This perspective is liberating and empowering beyond measure. As you cultivate this inner strength, you naturally inspire others to do the same. Your example becomes a beacon of hope and possibility. You show that it is possible to live authentically, to embrace vulnerability, and to thrive without the need for constant defense. This ripple effect can transform communities, cultures, and even generations.